Hey everyone, and welcome to Nobodies Making Noise, a series that aims to celebrate independent music and share the musical journeys of indie artists through conversation. My guest this week is Tim Hicks, a solo artist who releases music under the name He's Not Your Kind. Now, having just put out his latest album, All I Know Is I Hate It Here, an incredible and unapologetic journey through heavy guitar riffs and unrest, I couldn't wait to get him on the show. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's dive in. Tim Hicks, you are here with us today on Nobody's Making Noise. How are you, my friend?
I'm certainly nobody. So happy to be here, man. How you doing?
The same, still a nobody since the last time I talked to you, but I'm working on it. Any day now, I can feel it.
We're so close.
Well, I really appreciate you carving out the time to chat with me. Obviously, social media interaction is one thing, but it's really cool to be able to have like a sit down, whatever the face-to-face equivalent we can have is in the digital world. But really excited to sit here and chat with you, and really excited about your Mothman t-shirt, which is probably the coolest thing.
I picked this up at the official Mothman museum in Point Pleasant, West Virginia last year. So it's official merch, official Mothman merch.
I'm jealous. Someday I will get there. Well, you know how this works, my friend. I had you on here because I'm a big fan of your music, first and foremost. But the whole point of this series was to kind of dive deeper and do more of like a storytelling focus, because as an indie artist myself, like I know that we've got stories of how we get here, and they're usually full of many peaks and valleys, sometimes lots of peaks and sometimes lots of valleys. I don't know, mine are mostly valleys, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I lost the metaphor somewhere along the way, but I really want to just kind of start. We've got a lot to get through, obviously, but I'm going to start kind of like at the beginning, the inception, as it were, and just thinking about like your personal relationship with music. Most of us just start out as listeners for before we dive into actually making music ourselves. Do you remember like what was kind of the first bit of music that kind of got you into it and really kind of set you on your path?
Yeah, it was. I think a lot of people in our age group, it was MTV was everything, right? And I want to say it was maybe 1986, something like that. I'd get up in the morning, my routine getting up in the morning, I'd go have my bowl of cereal and I'd watch cartoons. My older brother would be taken off for high school, so he'd have the TV on, MTV would be on. I'd come in, catch the last few minutes of it with him, and then I'd switch to G.I. Joe and Thundercats.
Naturally.
But I do vividly remember, because that time, like, it was like the Head Over Heels and Shout videos by Tears for Fears were just like constantly on, and like that was the first time that like I was like we always had music playing, but that was like the first time I was like I like that. And then and I remember we had like the LP, and I wasn't allowed to touch the record player, so it always bugged my mom, like, put on Head Over Heels, I was like 8-9 years old, and then but yeah, I just sucked into MTV, right? So like after school, what was it? It was just go straight to like MTV, watch that. And then I had a phase where I saw Poison, and I was like, that's cool, and then like, but that's what made me want to play guitar. Like I thought CC DeVille was like the coolest thing on earth. Like, so like I started taking guitar lessons, and just, got into it. I started taking guitar lessons at like 10.
Wow.
And wasn't great. I got the Mel Bay guitar book, started there, and then I started taking lessons from this dude that was pretty cool, older guy, and like would like introduce me to stuff. And then like my world like changed maybe the following year. I kind of grew up in the sticks a little bit, so I'd always go to a buddy's house that was in a big subdivision. We'd hang out, and there was like an older kid that would always give us like Marlboro Reds and Bad Influence, and he had Master of Puppets playing on his boombox, and I heard the intro of Battery, and I was like, what is that? Like, I've never heard that before. And then like the one video came out, and like so like I lived in this weird world of like I loved like Poison and like Cinderella and like all that, but then like Metallica really came through, and then I just became like obsessed with Metallica. Metallica was like my world from like age like 13 to 17. It was, Metallica, Megadeth, and like when Pantera came on, like that is where I lived in musically. I would lock myself in my room, and like I bought the big, tablature books, so like of all the Metallica albums, and I just learned them note for note. And just all I did like all day was play Metallica songs. And then that led me to like joining my first band in high school, and then like writing original material and like playing gigs like when I was like 17, like that was pretty cool. And like so like metal was like really the first like thing that made me want to like make my own music. I was like, once I learned how to do it, and I would pick up, and I think I like the first time I wrote like a chugging riff, I was like, well, it sounds that's what Metallica does. And it just kind of all started from there. And obviously like my musical taste has branched out quite a bit from then, but there was a large portion of my formative years was like it was three bands. It was Metallica, Megadeth, and Pantera, like all the time.
I love how you basically just described like what it was like to be a latchkey kid, because that was pretty much it, right? The parents went to work, and then it was just MTV all day. Maybe that bowl of cereal with some cartoons, but I also grew up just pressed against the TV watching MTV, and it's interesting because for me it was really, I mean, Poison absolutely was part of that, but Def Leppard was kind of like my first true love, which totally. I know I tell the story all the time, but yeah, like it's interesting, and similar to you, it's just like that kind of music bug bites so early, and then it just starts to grow. Like you get exposed to new things, new sounds, like you described, which kind of takes me to where you got started writing originals, and probably even before we even get to He's Not Your Kind. But one of the things that drew me to your music instantly will not surprise you. I am also a fan of stacked layers of heavy guitar. So I absolutely love your sound. I'm curious how you would describe it. Like, I know genres and all that, whatever, but like, how do you describe your musical style?
I'll describe it sometimes. I'm like, I make music for people in their 40s that are too tired to go to shows anymore. Like, but like, I mean, it's very, it flows, it changes. Like when I first started, especially with this project, like I think I was leaning more towards like a shoegazy, like post rock, like mellower thing, and it just kind of evolved into like, I was like, well, it doesn't matter. Like I like blast beats. I'm gonna put a blast beat in there, like or something, like so it got heavier. So I generically I'll say I make alternative metal. I think that is like the but that's still such a broad term. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what I would say is alternative metal is if the dartboard's up there, it's gonna that's gonna hit somewhere. Alternative metal.
I feel you. I often stare at that dartboard. I'm like, I don't even know anymore. So you and I have talked in the past, and one of the things that I think I discovered very early after meeting you is that we have a shared love of the band Hum, which when I listen to your music, absolutely hear that, like some of that influence in there. But you mentioned, kind of like the earliest days of getting into music, maybe like some of the 80s glam metal, hair metal, and then kind of transitioning into a bit more of a heavier sound with Metallica and Pantera. Was there a particular artist that kind of changed your path sonically that kind of led you into, you mentioned like a little bit of more like a shoegazy concept originally, like what steered you that direction?
Oh, well, you'll love it. It was probably Siamese Dream, but like after the fact, like when Siamese Dream came out, like I was obviously very aware of it, but like and I heard it, but it like I was like I'm listening to Vulgar Display of Power, man. I'm not listening to that. Those guys are. But like I was aware of it, obviously, and like the videos on that album were on rotation on MTV. Wasn't until like out of high school, I thought I was a big shot guitar player. I moved to Atlanta, and went to music school, which I did not graduate. But it was like the most important thing that ever happened to me because I was exposed to like different people that I like was around like growing up and like different music like it and like, yeah, somebody I met was like, oh, you don't like Smashing Pumpkins? I was like, I would say I don't like it. He's like, listen, like, this is heavy. And I was like, no, it's not. And then like, I listened to it, I was like, that's fucking heavy. Like that guitar tone is sick. Like, I'm like, I had no idea. And then and then like also Tool, which again I was very aware of Tool when Undertow came out, and I liked it for sure. But like then when Anima came out, like but something about that rewired my brain completely. Like I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. Like so that definitely rewired my brain. But then like also like Soundgarden also like popped into the picture then. And also like just being in Atlanta, like a lot of like Skinnerd and stuff. Like I learned, like I lived with a roommate, and like, you know, we were broke, and every night we'd eat some crappy like hamburger helper dinner, and then we would just sit there and learn Leonard Skinner songs on guitar. Like it helped me so much as a musician, like going through that. But that's like the first time I broke away from just like listening to metal, like and like found and like there was also these like I was actually talking to a buddy of mine that I met back then I'm still friends with, and we were kind of laughing about like these 90s like alternative bands that like not, I wouldn't say they're post grunge, but like you know, I don't think they fit anywhere. Did you ever hear the band Virgo's Merlot?
No, I missed that one.
So worst band name of all time, but like they had some like they have one album. I think they were from Alabama. They had like a kind of a banger like album. It was good. And then like Oleander, I think they were out of Orlando. Like we were just talking about it the other day. We're like, God, I can't believe like we were like I it's not something I would listen to now, but like it did have an effect on me. 20-year-old brain, like hearing these different styles of rock music that doesn't have to be chugging riffs and like, you know, pinch harmonic guitar solos and, you know, all this crazy stuff. So
yeah, I've had a similar realization where anyone who knows me knows that like the bulk of my influences are all 90s alternative rock, but I think about how 10 years later, you know, at the turn of the millennium and kind of the new metal wave that was coming at that time frame, and there are songs that I could slip back into, like Puddle of Mud's Blurry, which is such a great song, like even now, and like I can throw that on and just be like, why wasn't I like vibing with this more back in my 20s? Like what the hell happened to me? But it's cool, like it just kind of, you know, gave an appreciation for, you know, the bands that were influenced by the stuff I, you know, cut my teeth on only 10 years earlier. And that's a horrible transition into my next question, but but something that you said earlier kind of sparked. Obviously now, you know, you're making music under the name He's Not Your Kind. How soon after playing guitar did you kind of start getting into the band thing? You mentioned like around 17, and you started like, you know, performing live. Was that like the precursor to He's Not Your Kind, or have you already been kind of doing this that whole time?
Oh no, like He's Not Your Kind was born out of the pandemic. Like I had a buddy when we were growing up, like he played drums and I played guitar, and like we would always just like we just play Metallica songs in his basement. And then you know, these other kids like had a band, a metal band, and like they kicked out the guitar player, and like they're like, hey, we heard you play guitar, and I'm like, yeah, and I brought him over, and so I played in this band for a while, and then you know, that was high school. And then, you know, I went to Atlanta. The drummer of the band in Michigan that I was in, he went to music school with me. We started a band in Atlanta, and like we another huge band, actually I forgot that totally influenced me, and it's so awesome that I'm seeing that they have like a revival right now, is Acid Bath. Like I saw them at a club in like 1997 with like 15 people. And it's like the coolest moment. Like it's my cool. Like I'm like I saw nobody there. It was amazing. But like, but we worshipped them. Like we're like, all right, we're gonna be like Acid Bath 2. You know, like so. Like we wrote. I mean, not really, but like it was like the clean vocals and screams were a huge influence on us there. Then that band eventually broke up. Then I formed another band, which was like the first time where I was the only guitar player and the primary songwriter. And like that was a like huge step for me personally, because I always had someone to fall back on, like a partner that was also writing guitar, and like and like if I wasn't confident in something or needed help, like, you know, there was that other person. So that was the first time I went like by myself writing music, and it was scary, but like also probably one of the most like fond memories I have. Like it was this weird like year and a half window. Like we didn't do anything. We made like a little EP, played random gigs around Atlanta, and but like I had the most fun But then again, like all bands that, broke up, then I ended up moving to Florida and then like wasn't in a band for a really long time. Then formed another band when I moved back to Michigan. I worked in a recording studio, which was kind of just our clubhouse and just musicians coming in and out. And we would kind of just like peck, like, oh, we like them. Like, do you want to jam? Like, and like, had a pretty cool band in Michigan. But then that band broke up and I ended up moving to Oregon. And then I was on this like 10-year stretch, not making music whatsoever. I mean, I was like recording at home, but like not commercially or like doing anything other than just like fiddling. I got married, decided to like, okay, I'm gonna, do grown up stuff and like,
do the right thing.
And I did that. And all while the whole time I was recording the whole time. And then I randomly at work here in Vegas, met a girl that worked out in the office down the hall. Randomly started talking about music. She's like, yeah, I sing. I was like, oh, cool. Like, send me something. She sent me something. I was like, oh, you got a good voice. Like, here's this. Like, and then she put some vocals down. And then we ended up forming a little duo called Desert Companion. We released a couple albums here. And it was like the thing that got me back into like seriously like completing music, because I like that was the one thing, like I would write like crazy but I wouldn't finish anything. I have terabytes of like these half ideas, like it's just like, oh, I was working on Saturday and I just did this, and then she ended up moving to Seattle, and it just, the pandemic happened and like it just like it didn't work out like making music between the two of us. And then I think like all of us at like the pandemic, my brain just kind of went nuts, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it myself, I guess, now, and like sing. It was the first time I was like took vocal duties and like and I'm still doing it 5 years later and having a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think the pandemic was such a shift for a lot of us, especially those of us who are a little older, kind of got started at music, in the 90s or early 2000s and took a break, like you said, for, kind of allow life to happen and do all those adult things. But
yeah,
the pandemic was really a time to kind of just take stock and, really think about like what the hell is bringing you joy in life, because it was tough to come by at that time. Not totally. That changed much, but at least we're not in a pandemic. That, and you had a little bit more free time. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna, and I was able to churn it out. I mean, I know you too, like just churning out music from like 21 to like 23, like because I had nothing else going on. I was just like writing constantly. Yeah, and like the ability to work from home like certainly kept me closer to all the stuff that I would need, and it was a huge shift. So thinking about that, like you're kind of between bands at the moment, pandemic hits. You're thinking about, the time on your hands now. And again, like I think a lot of us were just trying to find that bit of joy in our life. So by 2021, you're now officially recording and releasing music under the name He's Not Your Kind. First release is What Could Have Been Will Never Be. What do you remember about that first album? Like, was that a cathartic time for you? Was it stressful? Like,
yes. That album, I think I wish I could, I think I wrote it, recorded it, mixed it in like 6 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I just like, I think most people had that moment in that time where just like, start a lot of things, a lot of demons started coming up, you know what I mean? Like, and and that album specifically, like, I had like some traumas that I never, dealt with. And it specifically with that, it was like, in December 2010, I lost my dad. And then in March of 2011, I lost my brother. But also in March in 2011, I'm in the middle of packing to move to Las Vegas to start this new job and all this. So I just say it is like, I can't, I couldn't process anything. I had to keep moving forward and get down here. And then like, I came to Vegas and I just immediately started working. And then like, next thing I know, it's like a year's gone by, and then like 2 years have gone by, and I kind of never unpacked any of it, And then just like when you had that time, And you see all, like, you're hearing nothing but bad news, like everyone's like having tragedy happening, and I'm like, yeah, hey, I had some tragedy. It was a decade ago, but like I need to unpack that and think about it.
Yeah.
So it's like I have like a love hate with that album, because like uh it is the most personal like thing I did. I would like to redo it better, I think. Like, because I did just like throw it together like in a panic, like I gotta get this done now. But also I think that was like just the best way to do it, like just to vomit out,
Yeah.
all of this like sad. I call it my sad boy album. Uh, and then but something about like then the second I hit like save and like release on CD Baby, like there was like this
Mhm.
that came over me. I was like, well, what's next? And then I just started writing more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find that your previous experience, with bands, you mentioned some like previous experience recording. Did you find that to be helpful as you were now kind of doing it all on your own, or was the learning curve more than you expected, or did you enjoy kind of the advancements in technology that are now available to us who do record from home?
I mean, I think I'm fortunate that I did spend as much time as I did in a working recording studio, recording live bands and doing the whole process there. So I mean, I've been recording at home since 2008. And just my setup has gotten progressively larger and more complex and better. And I've been writing in like a Pro Tools environment for that long as well. So it's just like I'm not going to go sit on the couch and strum an acoustic guitar and come up with a song. That's not how I write whatsoever. I come in here, fire up Pro Tools. Maybe I'll find a generic like drum beat and put it on, or I'll just sit here and fiddle on the guitar for, until something happens. And then
Sure.
like I'll piece it, like, and that's what I love about writing like in the box, is I can be like, okay, well, here's just like 4 bars, I just loop it real quick, and then find a generic drum beat real quick, get that going, and then, all right, what's the next part, and do that. And I can just like piece it together relatively fast. I have a template session that has everything I need, like, so I'm not wasting any time. Like, oh, where's that synth patch I like? No, I have it at all times ready to go. And for me, I know it doesn't work. I know it doesn't work for everybody. I know like some people do pen and paper and like with a guitar and work it out. For me, it works, and it's my preferred way. As I kind of like just to be alone, close the door, either have it loud on the speakers or in my headphones, and I never come in this room like I'm gonna go write a song. Like, I mean, it is the reason I'm coming in, but like I have nothing usually in mind. Sometimes there'll be like not even a melody, just like sometimes there'll be just like a drum beat. Like I'll have like this like groove in my head, and what ends up on the recording sounds nothing like that. But like it was the thing in my head that like made me like stop what I was doing and like, I'm gonna go in the studio real quick. So for me it works and I love it. It's like paradise to come in here and just like spend a couple hours and just like get weird, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I have a similar process of like when I just want to be alone with my guitar and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
So I'm interested because I didn't know that you had kind of recorded the album in 6 weeks, which just sounds like a blistering pace to me. I can't even process that. But in 2022, you put out your second album, The Sun Wakes for You, and I'm curious, like, what kind of learnings from that first album, as brief as it might have been working on it, but kind of what are the key learnings you took from that experience of the first album that you used to kind of help you get the second one out?
I learned that like I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm a rock musician, like and like I didn't really rock on the first one enough, I'm like I want to like, but I still was like searching for identity, like what am I doing? So I'm like, I knew I wanted to have a little bit more driving, guitar and whatever. And then on Instagram, Kellii Scott, the drummer from Failure, which is my favorite band in the universe, like post a thing like, hey, like I'll record drums for your song, like, cheap. And I was like, I'm just gonna see, what it is. And like he responds back, and the price was right. And I was like, well, how about this? And I sent to him. He knocked it out, and I'm like, okay, like, because I'm pretty good at programming drums, and I do like doing it. But there is something great about having like live drums, obviously, like from your first episode. Real drummers add such an added layer to what you thought your song was, like, like because I would send Kellii like the stuff, and it would just have my program, like one of the songs I thought I was done with, and I thought I killed it with the program drums, and he wrote back, he's like, do you want me to like follow along with your drums, or you want me to go off? And I was like, a little of both, and like he just went off, and like but it was like so much better, like just like like things I didn't think about, like halftime grooves and like stuff, like stuff like that, and like so he did 2 songs on that album, and that like one was more fun to work on, because like mixing real drums is a challenge as compared to just opening up Superior Drummer that already sounds pretty good. But it just that transferred over to my drum program. Like, all right, well, I got to pick it up, because like I don't want to have like I have these 2 songs with real drums on them, and then the rest of them are Superior Drummer. I got to make them. Like I got to make it cohesive, like and sound good. So it got me better at like doing my programming drums, and that has carried over a lot more. When I think about that album, though, like I would love to go back and like I what I learned from that album the most is you don't have to put every song that you were working on something. Like, and I'm not like shit talking anything. I like all the songs, but like it's too long. I could have trimmed the fat a little bit. Like so, like. That's what I pulled from that one, is like, okay, I want to rock a little bit more. I really need to pick up the drums and like just, be selective.
So you're saying I shouldn't keep doing 12 songs, 70-minute albums?
No, you can do whatever you want. Like, if it works, it works. But I think I have since then, I think I've been kind of trimming back like the length of what I'm doing. More so because I think I also had this thing like, I gotta get all these out. And I was like, what am I doing that for? Like there's lines of people like, Tim, get your next album out, like, and it better be 13 songs. Like. Then once I realized, like, just calm down, man. Like, enjoy it, and I do it for me, and just do it. Do it, make it sound good, and something you enjoy listening to. So.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And obviously I'm kidding, but I did reach kind of a similar thought process myself, where I would just want to get all my songs out, right? Like whatever is in my head, whatever, even if I only had like half-ass, riffs put together, I just wanted to get everything out. I wanted to get it all together. Yeah. And then I started scaling back a little bit, and bring the album duration down to a more reasonable time frame. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, if you write 12 songs a year, like what if you do an 8-track album and a 4-track EP and just kind of split it across the course of a year? So I'm going to be experimenting with a little bit of that myself. So I'm also taking learnings from your albums. I'm such a huge fan of Failure. So seeing you, collaborating with Kellii Scott on The Sun Wakes For You was just a really cool thing. And it was actually right about the time that you and I crossed paths shortly after that album came out. It was over TikTok, which I don't do anymore. And let me tell you that there are a few things that I miss more than Fancy Fridays. So I hope you're still doing them.
No, it started becoming like kind of stressful for me.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm like at Friday at work, I'd be like, I go home and don't do this. Like I had fun doing it, but just like time, just like got in the way, and like 1 week went by, I didn't do it. 2 weeks went by, and it just kind of went, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm not getting like DMs, people being like, "Hey man, where's Fancy Fridays?" It was fun. It was cool. I'm just not really. I'm not really as active on any of the social media these days. I've just been so busy. Like, so
yeah,
it's what What am I gonna do? Am I gonna come home, cook dinner, hang out, maybe work on music, or I gotta go make some TikToks that are gonna get 300 views? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, that's why I kind of hit a wall with TikTok, because I was going pretty hard for about a year and a half on there, and then I hit a point where I'm like, like you said, I'm just kind of stressing because it's like it should be fun. It's not like I'm thinking about the things I need to do, and then like pretty soon creating content became something that I have to do because I don't want the algorithm to think I skipped a day and then I'm screwed or whatever. So I eventually, left TikTok just for my own sanity, but it was really cool at the time. Like for that brief window that I was there, I did meet a lot of artists like yourself, some of which that I'm still in contact with today, which is great. I have noticed like you certainly have scaled back your social media presence a little bit. So I wanted to ask you not about why, but more your thoughts on using social media as like a primary weapon for promotion. Do you think like social media has been a big part of getting your music out there? And if so, is there a particular platform that you kind of believe more strongly in than others?
I mean, I think it is a necessary evil, and there are great things about it. There are terrible things about it. It is a toxic place. It is a beautiful place. It is. It's the internet, man. Like, I mean, it is. You just never know who's going to pop in. I do think that TikTok is. I don't think I think it's definitely gone downhill since like they banned it and then it came back. It's just weird. The political cycle is, I think, really messing it up. It's not as it was like 4 years ago. It was fun. You know what I mean? Like I met like again like we met a lot of great music activity was going on there, and I think it's the possibility for that is still there. And I think it is the best place for that. You have the best shot at it. Like if you want to break it in some way, I think that's the app to do it. I don't, I'm not doing this to like be like I gotta pay the mortgage with my streaming revenue, like I do it solely because I love doing it and I have the ability to do it, and it is the source of joy in my life. So I love social media. I hate social media. What are you gonna do? I mean, but like I think back to like being in the bands when I was in my 20s and none of this shit fucking exists,
right?
And like or like I mean, even like I think a good segue into it is just like streaming. Obviously, like like I'm not cutting 5 albums and pressing 500 CDs that are never gonna go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, but like now I can spend $80. And you can go, and I don't care about like revenue, right? I just I want someone to listen to it because if you like it, that's so cool. And yeah, Spotify is terrible for what they pay artists, but like whatever, like I can somebody I haven't talked to in a long time, like, oh, you're making music, and I don't have to be like, oh, here's the CD, and have to worry about them. Like it's hard to get people to do things, so like. Like having everything at your fingertips, like the excuses are getting fewer, guys. Like if I send you something, you can listen to it in like 2 seconds. So that's how I feel about that, I guess.
No, I definitely have similar thoughts on my motivations and goals for making music at this stage of my life are definitely much different than they were when I was in my 20s. So yeah, it's really more focused on just something that, like you said, something that brings me joy. I would love people to discover it and love it, and I do occasionally get people tell me that they found it and they like it, and that's awesome. Like that's connection.
Cool.
Like connection is like the coolest part for me of making music in 2025 is just people I don't know that will like go to the effort of finding me, to say, hey, came across your song or your album and it's really cool. Like I can't think of a more rewarding thing. I mean, I'd love to pay my mortgage with it, but that's not a reality at this stage. Phineas, if you're listening, let's collab. So 2022 was an incredibly busy year for you because not only have you got your second album out, then you come back at the end of the year with your third album, Imposter Syndrome, and I got to be honest, like. This is the one that really kind of blew me away. Like I was already a fan of your stuff, but this album just kicked my ass in like the best way possible.
Thank you.
I don't know what that is. Like maybe it's just by the time you hit your third album, like maybe you've just kind of like hit your stride, exactly what you're going for. it really felt to me like you were just firing on all cylinders. Did it feel that way to you? Like, how do you feel looking back on that album now?
Yes, I no, I do. No, I feel like out of everything I've done, that is that was the easiest one to do. Like it's so cliche, like it poured out of me, Dave. Like I couldn't stop. Like it just like, and I almost like wrote that album in order. Like it's weird but like that one just like poured. You know what it was? I purchased the bass 6, so and that changed everything as far as my guitar tone goes.
Yeah,
and it is like something I could not imagine ever. There will never be a song I write that does not have bass 6 on it. It is the greatest instrument in the world. But yeah, like we're always critical of like things we do, and that album I won't be critical of because I love it, and I think it's there's this blend of I realized that like I wanted to do a little screaming, so there's some screams in there, and it's heavier, but then there's melodic, and it has a few of like my favorite things I've ever done are on that album. So yeah, that one was easy, like which is weird to say, I guess, but
I long to have an album that's easy and sounds that good. So thank you for setting the bar.
It was a one-off.
Well, we have to have at least one, right? You know, even Smashing Pumpkins has a Siamese Dream.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot, Tim. What do you say we get to some music? You want to take a break and do some music?
Let's do it, man.
All right. So for newcomers to this show, when we're talking with our guests, we like to give them an opportunity to pick 2 songs from their catalog that stand out for one reason or another, and we'll play them here for you to listen to. But while we have the lovely Tim Hicks with us, we have the opportunity to find out a little bit more about why he chose these songs. So for our first music break, you've selected Rhetoric from your brand new album, All I Know Is I Hate It Here, and we absolutely will get to that album. So this is a really fun opportunity to set it up. Why did you pick this song? Tell us a little bit about it.
It's heavy. I think it might be the last song that I'm gonna be able to do like the screaming vocals on, because it hurt, and I'm getting old, man. It's harder to do that stuff. But no, I like the song. I like also it's like condensing the albums. I've been really consciously like trying to like condense. I get in this rut of like, if it ain't 6.5 minutes, like I don't want it. You know what I mean? And like I'm like, hey, I can write I still like they're still kind of long. I mean, like 3, what is it? It's almost 4 minutes. Like that's, but I think it's a nice condensed to the point song. I like that there's like this halftime feel in the verse, and there's this underlying bass synth like arpeggio underneath it, which is what was the very first thing that I wrote. Like I was just playing on the keyboard, and that arpeggio line came up. I'm like, that's cool, and then like that's where it came from. And I also did something on this song that I like to do. The song is in 4/4, but the bridge also in 4/4. But I tried to make it sound like it's like not 4/4. Like I mean, any musically inclined person is like, yeah, dude, it's 4/4. I know, but like I wanted it to have this like cool, just like different feel to it. So I just like the song. I think it's a good compact representation of like what this album is and what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Cool. So there you have it from Tim directly. So here you go, folks. This is Rhetoric from He Is Not Your Kind. right, welcome back. And again, my guest this week is Tim Hicks from He Is Not Your Kind. Tim, I would be remiss to not talk about the summer of 2023. You released Cambria, which is right after Imposter Syndrome. Like, I think that's the one that really has connected with me just on a whole other level. Like, if it's not my favorite, it's right behind Imposter Syndrome. I think it has such an interesting story because you mentioned in the past that all of these songs were like inspired by a road trip that you'd taken. What was that experience like? Like, why did that road trip kind of make such a big impression on you to kind of fuel this album?
It is. It's the drive from Vegas to Cambria, and Cambria, Central Coast, California. I think one of the greatest places in this country, and it's where we like to go when we need a little recharge. It's a 6.5 hour drive from here, and we've made the trip a couple times, and there's just something about like the transition from like getting out of town here. You just never know what the traffic's going to be like, and then you cross the state line, and then like you hit the Mojave area, and like like it's a 2-lane road. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. It's either stressful or you're cruising, and then like you just go through all these different places, like in like in the desert, and then you get into the rolling hills and the Central Coast area. And I don't know, it just felt like like my Songs for the Deaf kind of Queens of the Stone Age like thing. Like, okay, it's my road trip album. This is my road trip I like doing. And there were just things that like I picked out on the ride, like like street names, city names, things like that I was like, oh, okay. And like it just like, I don't know, just meshed together. I thought it was gonna be cool. I thought it was a cool idea, right? Like, I'm like, all right, I'll do a concept album. I've never done that before. Like, so that's where that came from.
Did it come to you like on this particular trip, or is it something you thought about taking this trip in the past?
I think like the second time we did it, I kind of like in the car was like, oh, I should like do like this should be like I think we were listening to like what I don't remember what I was driving down the one. We were coming from San Francisco down because we went up and saw Sigur Rós in Berkeley. And then we were driving down, and we were listening to, I think I was listening to like Always, and like, so just random, like not anything like what I'm going to do, but there's something about driving on the coast and that album. And I was like, this fits to driving through here. And then I just thought about like, what's the drive from Vegas to here? Okay, it's gross and disgusting, the first part of it. And then it opens up and it gets like mellow and cool. So I was like, that's a cool format for an album, I think. Like so that album it starts more aggressive, because I'm like, I gotta get out of Vegas. It's gross, it's hot, traffic's terrible, and then it just progressively mellows out as I get to Cambria.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Well, it's something that I really admire about your music personally. It's how you find a way to kind of play with themes and carry them across an entire album. Obviously Cambria is more of a concept album. So I don't know if I would describe or if you would describe the rest of your albums as concept, but certainly thematic.
Yes.
It feels like there's an element that sort of like ties all the songs together. I absolutely started to really pick up on that with Imposter Syndrome, certainly Cambria. And of course, with your new album, All I Know Is I Hate It Here. Is this something that you're thinking about as you go into a new record? Are you thinking about kind of thematic elements that are stuff that you want to touch upon, or does it just kind of take shape as you start writing the songs?
Cambria was pretty specific, but everything else is just like, again, we're back at that dartboard. I don't know, like I can come in here and play around with something. But there is like when I'm in a session where I know I'm in a writing cycle for a specific thing, like I think I do get hung up on like maybe if it's not chord progression, it's just chord shapes or just something or a style of something or like a specific patch on the guitar. I'm like, oh, that's going to be like the lead tone on every song. So like I do consciously like think of that I like things tied together. The last thing I want is like an album where every song is like drastically different sounding or whatever. I do want it to be like something that you listen to start to finish and like it's just like not necessarily a story, but just like a sonic, like it's just like it stays on this line together, like
Mhm.
and works together. So definitely, like there is a conscious effort to tie everything together in some shape or form.
Do you find that happens lyrically as well, or is the lyrics more of like just whatever kind of inspires you in the moment?
I'm like lyrics are like the least important part of it, and I'm trying to make an effort about like I'm still like I forget that I sing sometimes. I'm like, because I've just been a guitar player my entire life, and it's like it's not anything I ever wanted to do or was like terribly comfortable with. But I have been, and like on the latest album is the most comfortable I've ever been, like singing, like even like
Mhm.
not even like lyric wise, but like just like voice wise, like pushing it further and like trying weird things, not being self conscious. Like my wife's in the other room and hearing me being like, "Ah," like making these queer. I'll tell her, be like, hey, you're gonna hear some weird things come out of this room. Just know, like, trust the process. You
Yep.
know, so but like lyrics, well, I mean, really, like they're the last thing I do. Like, and a lot of the times the lyrics form off whatever mumble I come up with when I'm like coming up with it when I'm just sitting here with the 57, just thinking of a melody, and
Mhm.
like I'll just generic like phrase will come out that I just repeat over and over again. Like that's how it always starts. Like it's like kind of like the guitar writing thing. Like okay, I got this bar. I'm gonna copy and paste it across, move things around to see how it works, then go back and like, all right, well, I got to write some lyrics. I can't just talk about pancakes or whatever the hell I'm doing. You know, like because I'm just
Yeah.
But I
I'd listen to that
try.
though.
Thank you. I'm trying to take the lyrics more seriously and and just like between lyrics and like melody, just be better at it. Like not that I like, oh, I have nowhere else to go musically. I'm at the pinnacle of my ability. Like, you know, like I always want to grow there too, but it's like, and that's part of the thing too. I got to grow with that. So, whenever I start working on the next stuff, like I want to push the vocals even further than I've
Mhm.
been doing them lately.
Yeah. Well, I would be remiss to not take advantage of this opportunity sitting in front of you to talk a little bit about the work you and I did together
Yes.
that not everyone may necessarily know about. But in 2023, I had an idea, right? Like I said, I was listening to Imposter Syndrome constantly, listening to Cambria also constantly, and I thought I'm just going to shoot Tim a message and just ask him, like, I know our musical styles are a little different, but would you be interested in finding out what a collaboration between our two
Yeah.
sounds would be like? And you were so cool about it. Like, there wasn't any like, like politely putting me off or anything. Like you were immediately like, yeah, fuck yeah, man. Sounds good. Let's do it. And thank you for that. Because
No, thanks
even,
for asking me.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to this day, I have people will tell me that Happy is their favorite 12 Days in June song.
Oh,
It's my wife's favorite 12 Days in June song. So
okay.
yeah, so
All right.
it's definitely become something of a favorite amongst my listeners. What do you remember about the experience? Like, was it? I want to say like, was it challenging working with me in the sense that I kind of just sent you the guitar stem and said, here, do your thing, and just gave you all the creative freedom? Or would you have preferred something a little more structured, more directions to relieve some of the pressure? Like what do you remember about that?
Well, you sent me the right song for me. I think. I mean, I think you made that decision. Like, all right, like because it already had like this heavy like main riff to it, and like
Mm.
as soon as I hit play, I was like, well, I'm putting bass six over that. Like that, we're gonna fatten that right up, you know. Like, and then what? I think I put a little synth melody line in
Yep,
it too,
that
right?
little
Yeah,
little
and
synth
like
in there.
and like some whammy pads. Like I don't know. I had fun, dude. Like
Mhm.
it was like uh I felt no pressure to do any of it. You know what I mean? Like if there was
Yeah.
not like I was just like I'm just gonna like if he likes it, he likes it. If he doesn't like it, I'll do something different. You know, like and like so it was like it was a relief because like when I'm like in here working on my stuff, it's like like even my wife like I hear you in there, be like when I mess up a tape and like oh dude. But like I was just having fun, man. I was like all right, let's see. I'm like and I kind of it's also kind of fun just to see like all right, let's see see how far I can take it and see what Dave thinks of this, like,
Mhm.
and you put everything in there that I did. So
I did.
it was cool. No, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised when I heard the final mix. I was like, it's heavy. I love it. So no, I had a blast doing it, man.
When I got
It's a good song. Like, and
oh, thank
it's
you.
like, if the bones are there, it was easy for me to do that. And I don't mean that in a way that like I didn't try. It was just like, it happened. Like, it was pretty, like, yeah, when you hear something, you're like, I know what I want to do that. Like, I know, I know what I would do to that. And, you don't always get to do that when you hear like your friend's music, because like they already do
Mhm.
it. So like to be involved in it is a cool thing.
Yeah, well, I thank you. I mean, it was really for me like a dream collaboration, not just with being able to make music with someone that I admire, but also just what you did with it. Like I couldn't have given you direction that would have been any better than what you did, which is why I ended up using all the files, because you were just experimenting with things that I've never used ever in any of my music, but not just like putting them in there just to do it, but like there was a really um, well thought out and intent behind everything that you put in there. So I I was just like happy to hand it off to the producer and be like, hey, you make sense of all these layers, do what you got to do, but like keep all of this stuff in here. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I was actually just listening to it today, kind of getting myself psyched up for this call, and I would definitely put this, if I had to narrow down like the top 10 12 days in June songs, or the essential 12 days in June songs, like this one has to be in that top 10. So thank you.
Man. No, thank you. That's very cool to hear. I'm glad you like it. It was fun to do, and like I hope we can do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always down for it.
Well, I'll try to stop putting over my own stuff and really focus more on why you're here. But obviously, I know we all kind of like have these bits in our life where things just kind of music takes a back seat for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Like you were obviously highly prolific there, from 2021 to 2023. You took a little bit of a break, not like a big break, but you took a little bit of a break in 2024 from original material. You started working on some EPs of cover songs, which again, like your Mew cover is definitely like one of my absolute favorites. I was like, you're the only person I've ever met who even knows Mew. So I was really excited to see that make the list there.
I was like, I'm like, is this too pretentious? Like picking this like Danish band that no one knows, but the song rules. But I mean, it was terrifying though. I mean, like his vocal range is not normal.
Yeah.
And I do not have that vocal range. So I'm like, all right, well, I can, I'll just do it in the growly, normal voice, not falsetto for days. But I mean, that band is so cool and has like, I love every album that they have. So like I'm glad you're like, yeah, you're the only person that has knows who they are. That like they're like, did you write that? I'm like, it's a cover album. No, I didn't write it. I wish.
I love that you even tackled Jay Mascis's parts. You did not shy
His
away
parts
from
are the
this
easiest
cover.
parts. Yeah.
Well, obviously, we've talked a lot about the past and kind of how we got there, but this is such an opportune time to have you on the show to talk, because you just put out a new album in April, or I guess it hit Bandcamp in April, streaming in May. So It's still brand spanking new. Called All I Know Is I Hate It Here. So again, like not meaning to pry into your personal life, but you took a little bit of time to, take a break from original material, worked on some amazing covers. Why did this feel like the right time to kind of come back to original material and get a new record out?
Well, I had it written for a long time.
Oh, wow.
It's just like I think I finished actually writing the album like last year. I just didn't have time to come in and re-record it properly. Like I wrote everything, had all the parts. It's the longest I've ever spent like working on songs, and I was frustrated the whole time. I'm like, oh, it's like but just too much was going on. Like we have like personal things happening. I'm very busy with work. In the long run, it was probably the best thing that could have happened, because like I really just like spent time with the songs. Like I spent like 6 months like listening to these finished songs. Like, God, I want to mix this. I want to like, or I got to like re-record that guitar. Like I want to, but it's never could like, I didn't want to like just half-ass do it. I wanted to like set up aside the time to like do it right. So it was no choice of mine to take that as long as I did. But like, I think moving forward, I just might just do that for my own sanity, and like it serves the product. I feel like it's the bet. I cut a lot of. I mean, there was more songs. I was like, that doesn't need to be there. Like, it's good. Maybe it'll show up on something later. I'm like, it just doesn't belong in this. So I was able to spend this time critically, like listening and picking apart things, and I think it produced my best work yet. And writing wise, recording wise, like and production wise, I'm most happy with the production of it. Like I really spent time making sure it was right, not rushing the mix, and I really like took care in the mastering process as best as I could. I'm not a mastering engineer, but we do what we can do. So I'm just very happy with like sonically where that album sits.
As well, you should be. Obviously, I've been listening to your music for a long time. I've gone through all your records many, many times, but even coming to this one completely cold, like when you posted a little teaser, I think it was on Instagram, basically announcing that you had a new album coming, I didn't listen. I immediately went to your Bandcamp page and bought it. Like I didn't want anything to influence like my perception of this record, because the title said so much. All I know is I hate it here. And I thought, I just want to go in as cold as possible, just sit with it from beginning to end, kind of do the 7 listens test. And that is definitely something that has kind of jumped out as I went through multiple listens. Songs would kind of like leapfrog over the other, where like maybe on the first listen, something like Quit Your Job might have been my favorite. Then it was like Rhetoric. Then it was We All Die the Same. And like I noticed it just kept shifting. Like as I listened to it, I would just pick up more and more. So the effort that you put into it, I think, is really noticeable.
Thank you.
So I hope you're very proud of this record, as you should be.
I am. Thank you.
I think, like you said earlier about how, maybe lyrics hadn't necessarily been at the forefront of your, kind of your focus as you're making previous works. But for this one, certainly the theme starts to jump out quickly. As you're thinking about processing what's happening in our world right now, because you kind of describe the album as a collection of songs that tell the story of your life in America right now. How are you sitting with that? Was it tackling these like big topics? Did that make the album more difficult to do, or even easier because you were like, I just can't wait to get off my chest?
I mean, maybe easier because there's a handful of songs that like, I mean, if someone were to pick apart the lyrics, I think it should be quite obvious who I'm talking about. He's got orange hair and he's a terrible president. But it was easy to like, it just kind of, I'm like, God, it was just like it was easy to do. And then like there's also some like self-reflective stuff in there, and like just like what's happening just like as a whole in this country. Like you see just everyone's angry and like and just tearing themselves apart and tearing each other apart, and no one cares about anything but themselves. I mean, not everybody, but like, and so it's just like the news cycle. I try to avoid, but you can't, and we get bombarded every day. I didn't want to make like this overly like political like out, and I try to pepper it in. Like it's not like this is the Orange Man Bad album. There's more things in there than just that, but like, actually, the first line of the song "We Don't Care" was actually about the beef I had online with the lead singer from the band Trapped.
I feel like there's a story there.
He threatened to sue me.
Wow.
I will know when I worked in the recording studio, they came in. This is in like 2006 3 maybe, like they and like did an acoustic set like for like radio listeners, and like it was not good. And like I made fun of him on Twitter with it, and then funny enough, Richard Marx got involved. Like it's a crazy story. And so like that's where it started, where I was like, I'm gonna throw shade at Chris from Trap, and then like he just obviously morphed into the other person. And then yeah, like like I'm not quitting my job or advocating that people should quit their jobs, but like quit your job, like, if you're not happy, like it's like we should be happy, and and I don't know, I'm rambling now, I don't even know.
No, I find it fascinating because you and I obviously we check in, every so often. I wish I'd checked in on you more, but while you were working on All I Know Is I Hate It Here was simultaneously I was working on Stone Tape Theory, but we had no conversation about our projects at that time.
No.
And so it was kind of, it was so serendipitous to me that, you and I both put out albums within a few weeks of each other that were really kind of inspired by the same life experience. I mean, experienced differently, but the same experience nonetheless. And one of the things that kind of struck me as I finished Stone Tape Theory was how I felt after I was done. I felt like, or I thought I was going to feel like complete, right? Like this empty void that had just been sucking my soul since November was going to magically dissipate. And yeah, like the album helped me confront these kind of complex feelings. It's definitely the most political album that I've done, but like yours, it's like not every album is like that, or every song is like that on the album, but certainly if you listen, it's there. But I'm wondering, similarly for you, how did you feel when you were done? Like, was this a good outlet for you to process kind of what you're feeling, or do you feel like there's even more stories, kind of inspired by our current existence that are still needing to be told?
I think for this one, I was relieved because it had been a long time coming to finish it, and like everything beforehand, there's always like that, like, is it really done? I'm like anxious. I'm like, does this suck? Like, like there's always that self-doubt. This was the first time I was like pure relief, and I was content and happy with it. And as far as like wanting to tell more, it's like I'll do that in the next one, I guess. Like I don't know. I don't know if writing about some sort of current event or maybe the next album will be a fantasy album. Who knows? I'll sing about. I'll go off and sing about hobbits. Who knows? But
hey, I would listen to your sci-fi epic.
I don't know. But yeah, it felt good to get it done, and I think it was the first time I finished something where I was just like, and I also like wasn't just like, all right, strap in, time to start writing. Like it was like I'm gonna take a little like, and I have been writing. I've got probably like 4 or 5 rough songs kicking around right now, but like so low key. Like I'm like, I'm not stressing, and I'm trying to take that vibe from working on that last one. Like, don't rush it, just enjoy it, man. Like and that so like I want to have that same feeling when I finish the next one, like relief, joy, happiness, like just in contentment.
Yeah, which does kind of tie into what I was wanting to ask you about, like giving yourself time to savor it, right? Because you and I both just kind of attacked coming back to music during the pandemic, like so aggressively, with just like cranking out albums, and like maybe
release more albums.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know that I ever stopped to really pause and reflect upon like the effort and achievement like that I had just gone through, because I was so ready to just be on to the next. And now, obviously I think we both have kind of like settled into a bit more of a rhythm that's, not quite just like the rush. So is that kind of like been your philosophy as you continue to make music, is like making sure you remember to give yourself time to savor it?
Totally. Yeah. Like there's no, like, again, there's no finish line. There's no one sitting there with a stopwatch timing me. There's no like where's the thing, like it's gonna be better if you just breathe and just like go at your own pace. Like no one dictates when something of mine is done except for me, and like I like in realizing that is a huge accomplishment on my part, because I don't know, like again, it's this irrational like sense that like if I don't get this out tomorrow, it's gonna be, no one's ever gonna listen to it. Like who cares? Like so yes, that moving forward, the philosophy is just take it slow, enjoy. That's the most important thing. Like I like when I worked in like the recording studio, which was a blast. There was a point where it felt like when it started to feel like a job, and I was like, I hate this, being stuck in a room for 12 hours with maybe people you don't necessarily like, and it's like, but you got, I'm like a whore, like you're paying me to be your friend and be like, no, it sounds great, and it's like the worst thing I've ever heard, so the second it becomes a job, like the joy gets sucked out of it. And then that's how, I don't want this to feel like work ever. Like this is like, I work all day, and sometimes, I mean, I haven't had a day off in almost 2 weeks. So when I get to work on the music, that's like my meditation, my time to like just like center myself and relax and like truly just like have a good time, and that's moving forward. Like no more stressing about my tunes. It doesn't matter.
Awesome. I mean, I'm really glad to hear that. And again, like I've been listening to this record, even over the last week or so, just really trying to absorb it as I'm thinking about like what topics do I want to talk to you about on this call. And I appreciate you again. I know how busy your work schedule is, and I'm so happy that we could squeeze in, an hour here to talk about it. And for the folks that are, for kind of discovering you for the first time, obviously I'm going to put links to your stuff. Really want people to check out the new album. All I Know Is I Hate It Here. That's a perfect segue to lead into our second music break of the evening, which is also a song from All I Know Is I Hate It Here, called We All Die the Same, which I did reference earlier as one of my personal favorites. Absolutely top three. Like fantastic song. So I was really excited to see that you picked this one. Do you want to talk about this one a little bit? Why you picked this one as the second single?
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely top three for me as well. It was the most fun to work on. Much like how I talked about how like the bridge of rhetoric, like I like take something in 4/4 and make it sound more complicated than it is. This song is in 7/4. And I want to make it sound as simple as possible. I don't want it to. I mean, I don't consider 7/4 really that odd meter, but like, it is weird. Like, so like I wanted it to be sound like it was on. Like not like I was trying to. Like I always hate when people like do odd meter, and it's like I feel like it's forced. So I just wanted to do like I wanted to do an odd meter song that was like that just flowed. And 7/4 is I use it quite a bit. I like that time signature. Like Broken Social Scene will do stuff in that. But you don't realize that it's like you're sitting there counting it and you miss that last beat and you're like, oh, it's 7. It's not 8. Like that's cool. But I really like the verses musically, and I like the chorus. The bridge. It's my favorite bridge I've ever written in my life, and it was completely by accident. There's like this whammy guitar effect that like completely by accident happened. And I was like, that's the coolest like thing. I mean, it's just like it's between I'm on my Jazz Master and I got the tremolo going, and then I think I'm going 2 octaves up on the whammy, and just like this like super delayed lead channel, and like I love it. It's like it's my favorite thing on the album musically, so that's why I picked that song. It kind of checks every box.
Awesome. Well, now you lucky folks get to hear it for yourself. So here is He's Not Your Kind with We All Die the Same. once again, my guest this week has been Tim Hicks from He's Not Your Kind, a good friend of mine, an excellent artist. Please do yourself a favor. Do not hesitate to go listen to Tim's work. Again, links are down below in the description. Wherever you listen to music, you can find He's Not Your Kind, and specifically check out All I Know Is I Hate It Here, the brand new album. Tim, before we depart, do you have any final words, any plugs? What's next for you?
What's next? Well, like I said, I am gonna I am writing casually. I will do another cover EP. I kind of want to start doing that, like in between albums, just to kind of break the. It's like a reset of my brain. I like to do the covers, like just learn somebody else's stuff real quick. Because I'm not big on, like, I've never been that guitar player like that shows up and they're like, "Hey, play a song," and like they want, like, I don't learn other people's songs really, like. So it is kind of fun to sit here and dissect. I have a few ideas of. I kind of jokingly told my wife I was going to just redo all, tying it back to the beginning. That's what you do in a good interview, right? Redoing all of songs from The Big Chair, like just recutting that entire album. But I'm terrified to do something like that. But no, so there'll be a cover EP. I'll start casually putting that together over the summer a little bit. Hopefully by end of year, have that out, and then work some more. I want to in the future open myself up for more like collaborations and like mixing work in the future. I'm trying to like build up a little database of stuff like that. So like not right now, but in the future, like, if you want to, somebody needs some mixing or needs some basics on something, you can hit me up.
Awesome. Well, again, Tim, thank you so much for the time. It has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
Hope you had a good time. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, man. No, I had a blast. Great questions. I mean, you're very good at this. So who knows, man? Like, it's hard to sit here, and do this. You did a great job. I had a really good time, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
All right, thank you.